you know what we do, and we covered our sports. But I got to come back. I got to give some shout outs to some folks. Ivan Robinson, always tuned in, good friend now of mine. Can't wait to get you back up here in studio with me. But he left me a comment, and I mentioned this. Stan Laws, what's going on? Uh, I mentioned this in my post just on regular social media, but he wanted me to not forget, and I appreciate you for reminding me not to forget. Shout outs to Floyd Mayweather, who has since signed on to pay for the services for the family of George Floyd. So shout outs to him for that. Also, there's been an update. In Major League Baseball has a new proposal, and again, like I mentioned to you, that they are just struggling, trying to get this thing right for them. So their new proposal is now to have a 76 game season, and the players would get 75% of a prorated salary under the playoff bonuses, which would require that the postseason is to be held. Again, baseball is really the ones that are dropping the ball on this. Also, I forgot to mention earlier, the WNBA are in the early stages of proposing a 22 game season, which is 11 games, no, 12 games short of their regular season. They usually play 34 to 36 games in the regular season, but they are proposing now a 22 game season, also in Florida at IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida. Sosby they have like few courts, almost like some resemblance to, on a smaller scale though, of the Orlando complex, the Disney complex in Orlando. So, with that being said, we definitely have a lot of other issues to get to. We have a lot of things to talk about, and I am using my platform to discuss some of these things. And like I said, I'm live, so you can chime in. If you feel you need to call, you can call in at 215 221 9435 and give me your take on what's going on. So I want to backtrack a little bit, and I want to start with, and as I mentioned, the Drew Brees but the Drew Brees, and then we'll get into a little bit of the Jake Fromm comments. So one of the things that Drew Brees said is and I'm paraphrasing right now. He is not in support of people or players who kneel or protest the flag, as they call it. And again, the backlash that he got, I don't have any issues with it. For one, like I mentioned last week, I personally do not really, truly accept the apology. I don't think the apology was genuine. The apology was genuine. I think he caught some backlash, or he got rumors of some backlash, and then he was pressed into making an apology. But he, along with a lot of other people, Jake Fromm included, need to be reminded, or must they be reminded, that all of this is stemming back to 2016 when Colin Kaepernick decided to protest injustices and inequality in minority communities in and around the United States, or in around the nation. So he decided to take a knee during the national anthem at football games. I have no issue with that. And just to backtrack and give you, backlog on the story, Colin Kaepernick did not just decide one day, wake up and say, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna protest. I'm gonna take a knee." It was a strategic plan. It was well thought out. He actually went and spoke with a retired veteran before he started his protest, and I don't know how many people actually knew that, but myself and my partner Baldy. Shout outs to Baldy, who we always do our due diligence. We mentioned this and we talked at length on this topic a while back, like shortly after it occurred. But here we go again, and people are, or the racists, let me just be blunt with it, the racists are turning this thing into disrespect of the flag. But again, Colin Kaepernick had a well laid out plan. He spoke to a retired veteran, gave him what he intended to do, what his initial plan was. The gentleman that he spoke with, Jackie Bridges from Texas, what's going on? The gentleman that he spoke with uh, was okay with what he said his reasoning for his protest was. Had nothing to do with the flag, nothing to do with the Star Spangled Banner, and I'm going to get to that issue a little bit later on. What's going on, money? And now the racists again are coming out and they're making this protest about the flag and how people are disrespecting the flag. It was never an issue with the flag as far as in this protest. The protest was about the actual incident, the most recent incident that has stirred this uprising that we're in right now. And I'm just speaking of the uprising of the rioting and the looting. And I mean, the protesting, I applaud that. Definitely applaud it. But this whole thing is centered around the injustices of it were within the minority communities. Just last week or 2 weeks ago, we had a gentleman, George Floyd, and let him rest. But he was knelt on by a white racist officer for over 8 minutes on his neck. He mentioned to the officers that he could not breathe. The officer did not release his knee. Ultimately, the man passed away. The 3 other officers did nothing to stop or intervene. But this is what has been going on continually since Colin Kaepernick initially protested with taking the knee. And again, nothing to do with the flag. These injustices have been going on. There is a long list of names, male and female now, that we can talk about that have been victim to these injustices. So where does the flag come into what these men, women are doing? It's no issue with the flag. Again, the flag has nothing to do with it. There's no disrespect of the flag. But Colin Kaepernick's point is being brought back to the forefront once again, where it is crazy. Thanks for tuning back in, Iverson. I gave you your props too for your comments. These injustices have been going on since forever, and they're becoming rampant right now. And like we said, it's going to calm for now because we have a start in this particular process. These particular officers were arrested finally. Charges were upgraded from the initial charges to second-degree murder from first-degree murder. But all in all, deep down inside, and I also one to believe that they should be first-degree murder. So that's how I feel. And those are the issues and the injustices that are going on. Now, getting back to Mr. Drew Brees, again, his statements are what they were. And this begins to bring about the cliche statement that I brought up last week. True leopard will always show his spots. So if he said this, and this was in him, and this is Drew Brees, the person. I'm not talking about Drew Brees, the football player, Drew Brees, the athlete. This is Drew Brees, the person. So with all this time, 4 years span, continuously going on with these injustices, to this day, you still don't know that this process or this protest has nothing to do with the flag. This is what you racists want it to be about. Excuse me for 1 second. Richard Drummond, my guy, is tuned in. Ivan says, did I get your message? Yes, I did get it, and I mentioned it when I came back on air. But again, thanks to Ivan Robinson for reminding me to mention that Floyd Mayweather has offered and is going to pay for the funeral services for Mr. George Floyd. Yeah, I saw your training, so keep working, putting in the work. Video will go up later, probably on YouTube, so you can see it, backtrack and see it. But I did give you your props. So, as always, tuning in, a good friend, Ivan Robinson, working out some fighters right now. So, getting back to this, Drew Brees' comments came up, and a lot of people had chimed in. One of the ones that I liked the best was the Malcolm Jenkins, and I posted that, so I'm not going to go into detail with that right now. But basically, Malcolm Jenkins told him to shut the F up, which I think was warranted because of his comments and what he said, and the fact that Malcolm Jenkins had a big role in this protest when it started back in 2016, 2017. Played a big part, big role in it. So some of the other stuff, there's been a lot of other athletes, professional athletes, that have chimed in. I'm going to read this one quote from LeBron, and it says, and I quote, "It is still surprising at this point. Sure isn't. Is it still surprising at this point? Sure isn't. You literally don't understand why Cat was kneeling on one knee. Has absolute nothing to do with the disrespect of the flag and our soldiers, men and women, who keep our land free. My father-in-law was one of those." Okay. LeBron James continues on another tweet, and he says, "Men who fought as well for his country. I asked him a question about it and thank him all the time for his commitment. He never found Cat peaceful protests offensive because he and I both know what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. God bless you." So Drew Brees also went on to say, and I quote, "I believe we should all stand for the national anthem and respect our country and all of those who sacrifice so much for our freedoms. That includes all those who marched for women's suffrage in the 1920s and all those who marched in the civil rights movements and continue to march for racial equality. All of us, everyone, respect that flag. Same way I respect all the citizens of our country, no matter their race, color, or religion." I think he's trying to save face because we all know as minorities that the Constitution is not written for us. Didn't really want to include us in it. You cannot empathize or can't empathize with me because you more than likely have not gone through what I and some of my counterparts that look like me have gone through. And these injustices, as we have seen throughout the past 4 years, are not just centered in the African American communities of, as we call, the average people, average working people. It stretches all the way up to professional athletes, African Americans who are in higher tax brackets because of their employment. And again, other than the professional athletes. So it extends all the way across the board. So someone like Drew Brees will probably never know firsthand what that feels like, what it is to go through that. Said Smith, what's going on? Will never be able to understand what's going on with that situation because they haven't been put in that situation. And again, we talk about all these members of professional sports and all of this other things talking about the disrespect of the flag. To me, it's not a disrespect of the flag. And they talk about the song, and again, we talked about this at length a while back when this first came about. So my partner and I, we did our due diligence. And once again, I've done it. So I'm going to just break this down a little bit for you. And I don't remember if I posted it earlier, but if not, after this is over, I will definitely post it. Lovey, what's going on, Cuzzo? I got a comment, and it's from Howard Griffith. and he says, as I look back on history, hold on, as I look back on history for African Americans, it is just a disgrace that the same conversation concerning the treatment of blacks in America has not moved in the right direction. However, what I do know is in 2020, the year of vision, races can't hide, and the young are fierce and relentless towards any inequality. Shout out to you, Howard, for that. Yes, they can't hide, and in all honesty, I think since Trump got into office, they were not trying to hide anymore. They've been hiding all along. They're going to continue to hide, but I felt like when Trump got in office, they felt like they had a little more space in that door to start creeping through. So they're always going to be around, and they're going to pick their moments when they decide to show their spots. They're going to. It's inevitable, as we see with the comments from Drew Brees and Jake Fromm. And then you see the backlash that they got. And then you see the apologies. These apologies are not sincere, in my opinion, if they had to be prompted. If you had to get the backlash and then you apologize, that means what you said you meant to me. And that means your apology is a bunch of crap because you meant what you said initially, or you wouldn't have said it. Okay? Now, getting back to this issue that all of these racist people are putting around this disrespect of the flag and the national anthem, I've got some questions. And we're going to talk about this, and I know this is a little bit off of the sports actual topic, but it's a burning topic that's going on in our country right now. And like I said, there are a lot of sports figures who are more recently getting involved and expressing their voice and making their voices known and heard right now. So, we all know we go to sporting events, they play what they call the national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner. So, with that, I go to this. How many people knew that there were 4 total verses to the entire song? Star Spangled Banner, or that's what it was called, written by Francis Scott Key. The only verse that is sung at these sporting events is the first verse. We all know it because we've sung it before. We all know it. We hear it all the time. We know the words. It's like repetition. If you didn't really learn it from repetition, hearing it, you know the words. There are 3 other verses. And again, like I pointed out 3-4 years ago when we talked about this on the show, look it up. Pay attention to verse number 3. African Americans, minorities. Pay attention to verse number 3. And like I said, and once I get done with the show today, if I'm going to go back and check, if I haven't posted it, I am going to definitely post this entire song. I have the picture. I'm going to post it so you all can take a look at it and read it. Secondly, what brought about singing the national anthem before these sporting events? Why was this particular verse the only verse chosen to sing? Why not sing the whole song? And I'm sure people are going to say immediately, well, time constraints and whatever, yada, yada, yada. That's not the answer I'm looking for. I'm looking for the answer that you'll give me concerning everything that's going on right now. Because you, the racist people, the racist community, are the ones that are bringing up this issue of disrespect to the flag. This whole damn song is disrespectful to us. And excuse my language, excuse me if I sound a little angry. Matter of fact, just excuse me, I'm not going to say I'm sorry because I'm not sorry for being angry. Okay? And I need people to understand that this song is not something that as an African American or as a minority that you want to be celebrating. It goes right in line with everything that's going on right now. The injustices that are going on. If they want to talk about disrespect of the flag, let's talk about the disrespect of human beings within this song. Let's talk about that. Okay? African Americans are heavily, heavily disrespected in the full version of the Star Spangled Banner. But yet, to save face, to hide, it's only one verse sung at sporting events. It's only one verse sung of this song. Song that saves race, that wants you to brainwash you, to lead you to believe that we're all in this together. And we know we're not. But this is what they want you to believe, that we're all in this together. So, people, do your homework, do your research. The protest is not about the flag, the national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner, whatever it is you want to call it. It's about the injustices that are going on continuously in our communities. It needs to stop, and as long as I have a voice, every opportunity that I get, I'm going to express my voice, along with all the other professional athletes and all the other dignitaries that are speaking out and that are angry right now. It's finally gotten to the point where a lot of these professional athletes are angry and they're using their platform, they're using their voice to do something about it. I commend them all for that, especially Steven Jackson, who spearheaded it all. Close friend of his, George Floyd, the gentleman who was murdered by the Minneapolis police, he spearheaded all of this. So I give him great shout outs for that. Great kudos for that. And he has a backing, like I mentioned earlier, he has a backing that will not be defeated. With that being said, stay woke, people. Pay attention. If you want to get a jump on it, just Google the full song, Star Spangled Banner, or the national anthem, whatever, and you'll see the verses. But like I said, if I haven't done it already, I will definitely get it posted up today so you can read it, chime in, and give me some feedback on it. It is now 12:15. I want to get to the Martellus Bennett comments, but I'm going to take a quick break right now. When I come back, I'm going to close out with the Martellus Bennett comments about racism in the NFL. We know there's racism in the NFL. We know there's racism in sports. It's starting to come out now with these last couple comments in the NFL, so that's where I'm going to stay for this moment. It's your boy D. You're tuned in to SportsRap, Heat 100 Radio. On the other side, I bring to you Martellus Bennett's comments on racism in the NFL.